Hey everyone, we're back. My name is Earl. Just beat Lemonheads in Game 2 of the best of 3 semifinal series. Connor Young hit a home run in the 7th inning, a solo shot, and then shut it out in the bottom of the 7th. So the series is tied 1-1. About to start Game 3 here. The winner of this will face the Stompers for the championship in the best of 3 series. Yeah, if you want to come over, yeah. So just a little break here. We'll be getting started shortly. Stompers won their series against Wiffleball Park Long Balls, 2-0 behind Chris Sarno on the mound. In Game 1, Jordan Robles hit a solo shot and a 2-0 Stompers win. And in the second game, it was Sarno with a solo shot to help himself. So here from Nick Schaefer from also from the Stompers. So Nick, what do you expect this? We kind of have to hold in the middle. That one. It's okay. So you watched that second game, and I think some of the first. So what do you expect from both teams here?
I think the first 2 innings are going to be crucial because the Lemonheads, we were just talking about it, the last 2 innings, once they gave up that run, they seemed like they were at a funeral. So hopefully they could emotionally rebound and be ready for this game. So I think if Earl puts a run across early, it might be game over right there. But we'll find out what the pitchers have left in their arms.
So what do you think from, speaking of that, what do you think Ray Lutic has left?
From the last couple innings, it looks like he still has something left. I think it was more, like we were saying, his attitude was more of like the long game. Like he was already thinking, what do I have left for the finals if we make it? I think this game he'll be fine, but after that, I don't know how much he's going to have left after one more game. But I think it's important for the Lemonheads to score early. Connor, I think he'll be more than fine. He could throw all day, but it's going to be very interesting the first two or three innings.
Yeah, and for the Lemonheads, they definitely want, even if they could just get into the finals and if it raise out of steam, because there is a money jump, and just certainly the prestige of making it to the finals over losing in the semifinals.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I think the Lemonheads had some quality at bats the last 3 or 4 innings. Hits didn't show for it, but they were on Connor. Connor has been throwing a lot of balls, actually. I would think his strike-to-ball ratio is not good today, but maybe it's on purpose, too. He's throwing a lot of balls, drops low intentionally. Yeah,
I think we all noticed that, and it looked like it was going to be a total base game for a while, but he was getting the Lemonheads to chase, so maybe it was starting in the zone and just dipping below.
Yeah.
So in Earl's offense, do you think what would be your strategy against Lutic?
Well, if I was him, honestly, I don't give Connor anything that's quality to hit. I make the other 2 guys, Blake and Joe, beat me. And I don't think Blake has the experience yet to beat you at the bat. He can get hot and cold, and Joe, is improving. But I would make the other 2 beat me. I wouldn't give Connor anything quality to hit, not in a big game, especially if there's anything on base.
No, agree. That's a strategy most pitchers have been using against Earl this year. Just kind of work around, at least when it's been this iteration of when they have Gerard Fitzgerald and Dan Whitener. It's not as easy to pitch around it, but yeah.
And that's not a knock on Blake or Joe. It's just that Connor is a very good all-around wiffle player, pitching, hitting, clutch hitting. As we saw today, it was a crushing home run he hit. But you could tell from it was funny. I was watching that at bat. The first swing he had, he completely missed it. But I'm looking at him like, he has a perfect swing for that pitch that Ray pitches. And then Ray hung one in the middle of the zone, and Connor just, barreled it up in the outfield.
Connor was, anyone who's ever seen him play knows he screams as much as anyone out there. But after that home run, after that last out, I don't know if I've ever seen him that excited.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you could say this is the big, for all the teams here, Earl has the most pressure because I think it was in the article you wrote, they haven't won a big tournament yet, or a big championship. And, to be considered the best player in the country or top 5, in my opinion, you have to win something big. And again, that's not a knock on Connor. He's still very young. But I personally don't put him in the top 5 until he wins the big tournament. So that maybe today's the day. Who knows? Hopefully not, because they're playing us. But, he's a hell of a good player all around, too. But they need to win the title one day.
Yeah, he's such a competitor that for him, I think that's really all he wants. I mean, he likes the personal accolades, but he said a few times that he just loves winning so much, and to get a big title like that's what he really wants.
And I was talking to Jordan before we played after the ceremony for the awards, and I told him, I go, regular season MVP, who gives a crap? Yeah, it's a cool award,
right.
But winning the title. So Jordan started off 4 for 4, whatever, his home run, and and even the one out he made. So he's on track. If he pitches two good games, he could be the MVP of the. Again, back-to-back, right? We won it last year, so
yeah, no, absolutely.
I would take playoff MVP any day over regular season MVP.
And I also think that plays just sort of Earl's going to be down in Texas for the Fast Plastic tournament. I think Connor would like to. I think maybe as big as this championship is, to sort of build that momentum also for that. So you would like to at least make it to the finals here if you're him to get that ball rolling.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do. I think he's fun to watch too because he brings energy. His at bats are vicious the way he swings.
Oh, yeah.
And his pitching, he's smart. He changes angles. You don't see pitchers that tall actually and throw hard, do sidearm drops, to do straight drops, to do change-ups, risers, sliders. So it's kind of cool to see a tall pitcher do that. Usually it's the shorter pitchers like myself or Jordan even and people like that do it. But Connor really mixed together for a power pitcher. And to me, it's a sign of experience and knowledge of the game. Sometimes you have pitchers that are just chuckers and throwers and just go up there and throw hard. And actually, I do put Ray from Lemonheads in that category. I was saying if he works this offseason with a really good second pitch and a quality third, Ray could move up to the upper echelon of pitchers. But right now, he's a very good pitcher, but he could keep getting better. I hope he does. He's young, so... but he needs to develop a second and third pitch. And they need another pitcher on that team, too.
Yeah, I think they're going to have Johnny Costa next year, they said, from Palisades. But yeah, I agree completely with Ray. Your assessment of Ray, that it's kind of amazing how good he is just with that one pitch. But
absolutely. It's frustrating as a hitter, actually.
Yeah.
He frustrates teams big time.
But he knows how to change eye levels. And he's got the rise there, but that's more sort of just a show-me pitch. It's really not a plus pitch yet. Let's keep that blank, right, to put the team name on there.
But I'll get everything.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think Ray could be a very good pitcher in the future once he...
this one. Unless, I don't know if I turned it off.
Once he develops a second pitch. And that happens with young pitchers. Once they work on what they're very good at, and then once they get a second pitch, they become more unhittable.
So here Blake Hoffman from My Name is Earl. Here, you can stand in front of it. That's what you want to do. Hold on, let me...
You want me to interview him?
Yeah, got it.
So, Blake, that was a very emotional, big-time win. What are you guys thinking going into the deciding game?
It's going to be close again, and it'll probably be decided by 1 or 2 runs.
So, I mean, is it going to be Connor versus Ray again?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's a good matchup, but what are your thoughts on that?
Soup has the control right now because I'm just wild today for some reason, so it's a smart move. And having a 3-man lineup, both teams, it's going to be close.
So in that one inning, I can't remember if it was the 5th or 6th, you had that ground ball and you threw it wide. We've all been there and make a mistake in the field. But the next inning, I don't know if a lot of people noticed, you had that huge walk that re-gave you the lead. Was that is that a big moment for you?
Yeah, it kind of hyped me up. Then I started getting hits and whatnot. So
yeah, what do you have, 2 or 3 hits that game?
I think I had 3 singles.
Up the middle, it seemed like. Was that your approach to go up the middle?
Yep, in between third base and pitcher, just to...
So what were you thinking when you saw Connor's fly ball taking flight into the trees over there?
Kind of a sense of relief, but we still had to finish the game, obviously. But I mean, my energy just went from about middle here just up. Like, I have a bad ankle right now, and like my adrenaline's up. I can't even feel it anymore. So
yeah. And well, thank you, and good luck in the game 3.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, you got it, Paul?
Yeah. All right, thanks for that, Nick. So yes, I mean. We'll have some of the highlights up of that last game. But it was one of those just one of those nail biters. 7 innings. It was kind of low total bases too, right? It was like
I think it was 5-5, or it might have been 6-6 or 5-5. It was going back and forth, one each. The Lemonheads were up by a base, and then it switched to Earl up by a base, and then they kept tying each other. And I really do believe one of the biggest plays of that game, besides the home run, obviously, was Blake's walk. That was a huge. I think it was 3-2. Yeah. And that redeemed himself from the. It was a tough play before. It was a far throw, actually, on the grounder he had. And it's wet, obviously. And it's not his ball that he pitches, so it's not an easy play. People that watch the sport think, hey, why can't he hit the backstop? But you got to remember, everybody scuffs up their ball to their liking, and when you're a pitcher, you throw somebody else's ball. It's totally different.
Oh yeah, completely. It's
and it was a far throw too. He was right by the line. He wasn't charging or anything.
It's funny. That's something like I never really thought about back in the day. But like, it's I mean, it's so hugely important to fielding to be comfortable with your pitcher's ball. Like that's almost I don't know. It's
really important.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a competitive advantage I think teams could get if they sort of like built a team around fielders that can also throw the same kind of ball.
And if you think about it too, you should at least have one or two practice throws with your pitcher's ball, just so you're like familiar with it. So we're about to get started here. This is very exciting for a deciding game to see who goes to the finals against the Stompers.
Oh, first pitch, is that gone? No, the ball's been dying all day long here, especially on Chef Field. That was a good piece that Dave Clark of the Lemonheads got.
I'll tell you, Clark has been on. He struck out a lot last game, and I think he was swinging at a lot of stuff. His swing has been aligned with Connor's pitches, so he was overdue to hit him hard right there.
So
that's a big statement. First pitch of the game to hit a shot up the middle.
That's huge.
And I think that there's a lot of balls today that would have been home runs in July or August. Today the ball's not. You have to hit a bullet to hit a home run, more line drive than pop up.
This is Game 3 of the semifinals, the second semifinal series between My Name is Earl and the Lemonheads. The Stompers have already advanced to the finals. The winner of this game will meet the Stompers in the best 2 out of 3 championship series.
And there's a chance it could be a rematch. Last year was Stompers Earl, so there's a chance, right?
Yep.
What was the series last year when we played?
It was 2-0.
2-0, okay.
2-0 Stompers over Earl. Connor kind of expended all of his energy in the semifinals there. I think here he kind of knows better what to expect, and he's he's kept himself more in shape. And they could always go back to Blake.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger pitching. If you started early in the tournament, you could be completely wild, and then all of a sudden you pitch a couple hours later, all of a sudden you're like a Cy Young Award winner.
Exactly.
So it's totally different. It's hopefully Blake, mentally is fine. But I know he said his ankle was bothering him. I didn't know that, so I don't know if that's going to affect when he comes on the mound.
I think he said he rolled his ankle about a week ago. Okay. I think playing baseball. But Blake started game 1, let up a few runs. Connor came in relief and has pitched every inning since then as Ray Lutic swings through that for out number 2. So runner on first, 2 outs here, top of the first. Game 3 of the second semifinal series of the Mid-Atlantic Championships.
This is interesting that Connor goes to the strategy with 2 outfielders. I realize you want to keep the ball off the wall, but any kind of ground ball, well, I guess it doesn't score anybody, but still, I would be careful here if I was him. Clark hit his shot before, and he's been on him all day.
It definitely is an interesting.
That's his pitch that he's has been his kryptonite so far today is the low drop.
And that's one of Connor's bread and butter pitches too. So he's going to keep going to that as long as Clark's going to swing at it.
It actually reminds me of the old school Japanese pitchers, even Tanaka to a degree. They throw their pitches out of the zone, and somehow people keep swinging at them. It was change up. And so much spin on that ball too.
So you mentioned the defensive strategy. Connor's done that as long as I've known him. The first tournament they played him last year against Danny Lanigan and the Golden Sanders, he did the same thing in the finals. That one misses low. Did the same thing in the finals. Final inning, there was 2 outs, a guy on, put both guys back just to keep it off the wall. You're giving up the single, but a guy on first, single's not going to kill you. So
exactly. It'll take 2 hits to beat you, to give the lead rather than 1. That's smart by Clark. 2 in a row. He's being a little bit more disciplined this at bat. If Connor elevates 1 in the strike zone, he's probably going to get a base hit here.
Comes the 2-2 pitch. That one also dips
low.
I'm sorry, 3-2 pitch. That was ball 4.
So first and second here. Now you have to bring in fielders in.
Now both Blake and Joe are going to come in, it looks like.
And this is huge. Sooner or later, Beck's going to have to come up with a big hit for Lemonheads because, he's been coming up numerous times. The guy's on base, so maybe he's due. But he needs to come through for the Lemonheads to give them an offensive boost.
Right down the middle for strike 1. Connor getting ahead early in all these at-bats.
And you can tell because Connor changes his approach against him. That looked like it might have just been even a straight pitch or, a screwball that was, a little bit straighter than usual.
That one bounces in. 1-2.
I do love how Connor doesn't give in, though. He keeps throwing that low drop, and, he's like, you may take 1 or 2, but eventually you're going to swing at it.
He's definitely a pitcher.
Ooh, good cut.
Real good cut, straight back. I'm sure you appreciate that. That was always always the praise levied at you. It still is. You're a pitcher, not a thrower. Know how to pitch around guys and know how to, sometimes you just don't want to pound the strike zone. Sometimes you need to pitch out of the zone.
Yeah, so the way I feel, especially with a 3-strike count in some tournaments, is eventually the hitter's going to get himself out. Good pitch by Connor, right underneath the hands.
Yeah, real nice drop pitch. Had the zone most of the way and dipped below. So we're through half an inning, no score. Assuming Ray Lutic will come back out for the Lemonhead. So let's talk about Ray a little for people who haven't seen him. He's a workhorse on the mound.
Yeah, he's built like a bulldog. That's the way I think of him, as like a fullback in football that's on a pitching mound, and you can tell he pitches with all guts. He throws his best pitch, and the one thing I like about that is, you want to lose with your best pitch too.
Right.
He actually reminds me of like a wiffle ball version of Rivera, pitch for the Yankees, where he kept throwing a cut fastball nonstop. Ray keeps challenging you. He does have a riser, but usually it doesn't hit the strike zone. But you can tell his riser has potential, but hopefully that improves as he gets older.
Do you think we were just talking about Connor being able to the importance of not just pounding the strikes? And do you think Ray's got that, or do you think he's got some maybe like a little natural wildness that just helps him?
I think he'll learn more about throwing balls on purpose as he gets older and as he gets more experience at big games. But I don't know. I don't see that yet in him. So hopefully he keeps developing. But it's very important for wiffle ball, especially the Mid-Atlantic Wiffle Ball League, is throwing balls intentionally, because you have the 0-1 count and batters are more aggressive here. So not just balls, but balls that start as a strikes and then go low or go high, especially the high pitches. People tend to chase high pitches.
Yeah.
Because you have a split second to think about it.
Connor Young leading off. Fouls that
You
one
got
off.
lucky there. That was a slow hanging drop. So we'll see how much Ray has left, because that first pitch was
Ray,
hung there.
If this is the first time you've seen him, this is not representative. That first pitch is not representative. He's as hard of a thrower as anyone, but he's already thrown. Let's see, it took 6 innings to beat the Barrel Bruisers on total bases. He threw all 6 of those.
24 innings, I think he pitched today so far, right?
Let's see, 4 against Ridley Park. That's 10. 5.
Yeah, less than 24.
Well, 5, and then he pitched 7, so 22.
Yeah,
This is his 23rd inning. That's a lot of innings.
And then if you think about all the tournaments that they played, he's been throwing about 100% of the innings basically for the Lemonheads this year.
I mean, these guys have been arguably the best team in the country since the second half of the year, since July 14th. They're MAW coming into this tournament. They were 10-5. They went 6-1, 7-1 down in the tournament in Tennessee, and their only loss was the loss of eliminating them. It's a ground ball. It's going to get through for a single.
The key to this game, I think, is it's okay. Ray could get by with his lesser stuff, but he needs to get Joe and Blake out every time. Basically, he can't. And then he can't give homers to Connor. He needs to keep Connor in the park. That single is okay. He hit it hard, so he kept it on the ground. That's fine. But he needs to get these other guys out.
That's a smart single and just a good way to. 2
good pitches here.
Yeah, he came right back with Joe, and that was top-notch stuff.
And I'm going to go on a limb and say I think the key to this game is Blake hitting, one way or the other. Because Connor's going to get his hits, and Blake had a couple great at-bats last game. Let's see if he keeps up the momentum in this game.
Yeah, he had a couple of hits.
I think he might have had 3 or 4 total bases himself last game.
I think maybe he had 1 the first game, too. Blake started coming along in Cannonsburg at the plate. Had a home run in that that tournament, so it's bats coming along.
Yeah, absolutely. And the crazy thing is you could start to see a little bit of Connor in them. They're both lefties.
Yep. And there's a pop. Got a piece of that, but popped up.
Had a very good sound to it too.
Yeah.
I don't like that bat
Clark
though. The Nerf bats.
A lot of people swear by them.
I know they do. I mean, and I'm saying this as someone who never batted in a competitive game. I feel like it has too much bend there. You can actually see the bat bend when somebody hits it with it.
And they definitely do. I mean, they break very easily. And they're out of.
Somebody broke it on a check swing today, I think I heard.
All right, so Connor up. We'll see how Ray approaches him here after he singled his last time.
Interesting defensive alignment, because there's 2 outs, man on first, a double gives him the lead, and I don't know if I would go with a third baseman here. I think I would go 2 people on the right side.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. With Connor up, I don't know if I've ever seen Connor go opposite field.
No, I don't know. I mean, if he does, it's an accident.
Yeah. Opposite field for Connor is over that GSI sign out there.
Yeah.
That's about as far to center as he gets.
I mean, he's the definition of launch angle when you watch him swing. He has that, uppercut, fly ball, home run swing. That's a smart pitch by Ray.
That's a really nice pitch.
Using Connor's aggressiveness against himself.
Ray's
getting stronger as his inning goes on. I was worried the first 2 or 3 pitches, but it looks like his arm's loosening up a little bit now.
No, he doesn't. I think maybe just those 10 minutes sitting down, made it tighten up.
Yeah, I can tell you, somebody used to throw 25, 30 innings. The last game, it does take a little while to get your arm going. What is it, 3-1?
3-2, full count.
Ooh, good piece. Good swing,
Stays
too.
alive.
This is a big pitch coming up here.
Yeah, for the bottom of the first, this is a really big pitch. Ground ball, back to Ray. He's got it in front of the carpet. Nice, easy throw, and gets him out. I mean, the reason that's such a big out, too, is you can now start with, Joe and Blake next inning. Don't turn the lineup over.
That's a great point, actually. As a pitcher, I can tell you, I used to always think of that. You always want to, it's like thinking about National League Baseball, have the pitcher lead off the next inning. I'm not saying Joe or Blake are like that, but, you don't have the guy that's batting third or cleanup. Well, nowadays in baseball, batting second, usually the best hitter is batting second now.
And in wiffle ball, it's almost always the first batter is your best hitter, and that's where Connor's batting. So you want to get that guy out, start with the second and third guy, and go from there.
There's a lot of talent left in this field between the Stompers and the finals and the Lemonheads and Earl here. So I think no matter what, it's a good matchup. And the cool thing is, all 3 of these teams have seen each other a lot this year, so it's nothing surprising. We have seen Ray a bunch, we've seen Connor nonstop, and so there's no surprises. So now we're about to enter the second inning. So we're entering the second inning, 0-0, and Connor coming back to the mound. And Connor put 2 balls in play that inning, 1 hard hit single and 1 grounder. So I think the key is going to be Ray keeping him in the park and getting the other 2 guys out. Yeah, I'm joined by the other Cook brother. Tim Cook's with me right now. The first batter is Ray, leading off against Connor.
Yeah, this has been a really, really awesome day. This has been a terrific best of 3 right now. Connor and Ray both bringing it on the mound.
Yeah, we were just saying before, Paul and I, about how no matter who's the finals matchup, that there's no surprises, between these 3 teams, the Stompers, Earl, and Lemonheads. We all know each other, have faced each other a bunch, the pitchers and all that, so it's going to be a good matchup no matter what.
I think one of the other things to look at...
Oh, vicious cut by Ray. He does that swing where, partly because it's wet out, but he does a swing where he does a pirouette on the batter's box after he swings. Here is my key to the game on the Lemonhead side. As Clark, he has a hard hit today that could have been a home run a lot of days. And there's a ball up the middle, Connor. And that's actually very underrated in Connor's game. He's a really good fielder. People think of his home runs and his pitching, of course, but his fielding is definitely a plus.
Yep, and he's, when you're such a strikeout pitcher, that often can go underlooked or even overlooked.
We have to come up with a term for wiffle ball, because in baseball you have 5 tool players. I don't know what wiffle ball I guess you can have batting average, power, pitching, and fielding. So 4 tool players, I guess, in wiffle ball we could go with.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Nick. You can copyright that.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul? Paul's back here.
So what are the 4 tools?
In baseball you have 5 tool players.
Yep.
Wiffle ball, I'm thinking there's 4, because you have batting average, power, pitching, and fielding, right? Is there another one?
Yeah, I mean, speed definitely in this version of the game, speed is not a factor. Yeah, that's interesting. If there's something else, you kind of feel like there is.
I mean, I guess you could put batting average, on base together as 1.
And what about durability? Not
Yeah, I mean
something like that. Because in order to be considered a 5-tool player, obviously you have to have both the pitching and fielding, and durability is such a big part of pitching.
And I would say that Connor is definitely one of the better 4 whatever plus.
Yeah.
Players. So is Jordan. Chris is up there too. Sarno. So we got some special players in this field. Let's go! And Connor shows his emotion again. I'm trying to think what major league pitcher used to do stuff like. Usually it's relief pitchers that come and do that.
Yeah, who was it? Was the Tigers reliever in like the mid 2000s?
Was it Fernando? The guy who did the bow and arrow thing?
No, not Fernando Rod.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he kind of did the spin, and but yeah, I mean, it's so frowned upon in Major League Baseball, which is one of the great things about
unwritten
wiffle ball.
rules. They always say. I say as long as I always think it's the intent. If the intent is just to have fun and show emotion, it's more than fine.
I gotta open it. Hold on.
Ooh, so the race starts off Joe with a strike. Still 0-0.
That's absurd that he has an overlay and everything. Like that's
And
living in 3018.
so now we have another stomper. So now we're switching from Paul to Tim to Paul back to now Jordan Robles is here. Last year's MVP of the playoffs. So Jordan, what do you see in this game? And what's your prediction of the outcome here?
I hope that both teams play 19 innings. They throw 1,000 pitches. Their arms hurt really bad, so that when we play them, it'll be an easy game. That's what I'm hoping.
So we have a pretty significant delay. We won our 2 games pretty quickly, and then we had the delay here and watching these games. How are you going to get yourself ready for the finals?
A lot of Tiger Bomb, throw a little baseball, pray to the Whiff gods, like I always do, and, get after it, see what happens.
So are you hoping, last year you were, the MVP, like I said before, and today you haven't pitched yet, but you got off to a great start hitting. I think your first 4 at-bats, you had 4 hits, including a homer. How do you feel in the batter's box?
Feeling good, I've been playing in a lot of tournaments throughout the last couple of weeks, so I'm feeling comfortable. I'm very familiar with both guys, played against them multiple times, so I'm feel like I'm seeing the ball well. Putting good swings on the ball today, feel good.
And here's something that Tim and Paul were throwing around with me today. In baseball, you have 5 tool players. You have power, speed, average, fielding, arm. What's wiffle ball? We were thinking 4 because you have batting average and on base. You have power, pitching, and fielding. Is there, do you think it's 4 tool players sounds good, or is there more another category?
I would say that. Another thing when you get to the higher levels is the whole mental aspect of the game, having that killer mentality. If things don't go your way, which they're not, dealing with adversity in a good manner, that really separates the top players, because everyone's extremely talented, but having that mental edge, I feel like, is what wins you games at the end of the day, having that heart.
And what's cool is we were talking about before, and Paul and Tim especially keep track of people around the country, and you're probably going to be modest, but I think we have 3 of the top all-around players in the country, definitely at least this part of the country, between you, Connor, and Sarno, so it's pretty cool for people to see.
Yeah, it should be great matchups, man. I love MAW. We've had great players here, defending national champs in July, Palisades champs, the McElrath brothers. So we're getting the best players here. If you build it, they will come, and we're seeing it as Connor takes one right off the arm there. That's going to sting.
So from your point of view, as a pitcher and a hitter, how the hell is Ray getting people out consistently with 1 pitch, sometimes 2? What do you see here?
I feel like he's brand new to the circuit. No one's really seen him before, and his ball moves a lot, man. He locates that drop very well, and he's very sneaky with the rise. You just saw right there, do it high.
As we see there, he did throw a high riser there.
Gets people to chase. Although he has 2 pitches, he locates it well.
Yeah, and we were saying if this offseason, if he was able to work on improving his second pitch still, and maybe even getting a 3rd pitch, it'll make him that much tougher.
Oh, yeah. Or if he got another arm, that'd help him tremendously.
Yeah. And rumor is, I don't remember who, but Paul was saying they have a second arm lined up for next year. I forget.
Yeah.
I don't know who it will be.
Yep. Yeah.
Hopefully you don't hear as Ray yells to us over here.
Yep.
So we have zeros. Is this the bottom? Why did I have a loose track here? Top 3, okay. As an announcer, I should probably know that, but it's top of 3rd, 0-0.
Great ball game here.
Yeah, this is becoming a legendary best of 3 here. We had rain, now we have no rain. If it stays like this will be perfect.
Yep. Perfect championship weather.
So let's go through the matchups here. What are you thinking if we end up playing ERL? I know they are out for revenge. Connor's the regular season MVP. We beat him last year 2-0. So what do you see if that's the matchup?
I feel like Connor, pretty clear cut. He's their best hitter, but Blake's been seeing the ball well. Joe hit a home run off me last year, so it's gonna be a battle either squad. But it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward. Whatever team gets to the finals, they deserved it. This is an insane series here, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to playing, right? Because we've been sitting
looking
around
forward
for a
to
while.
playing. But both guys' arms are gonna be tired. I can already see Connor. The velocity's not where it was when he first started. You can't blame the kid. He's throwing a lot.
We were actually contemplating before, me and Paul, that It wouldn't surprise me. I know Blake is dealing with this slight ankle injury, but it wouldn't surprise me if they try to start him game 1 just to see how he is. Fresh arm. I know he struggled a little bit, but as you know, as a pitcher, you can look like garbage.
Yep.
But 3 hours later, here's a base hit by Clark again.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, nice single to right center. I have no idea what the total bases is, but hopefully this game does not come down to total
1-1?
bases.
Oh, you guys are. Wow.
Thank you.
4-1 total bases.
This is interesting as both teams answer our questions as we're announcing. Connor starts with strike 1 there.
Gas that one up.
Yeah, he seems like he picks his spots when he wants to throw harder. Is that what you do as a pitcher too?
Yeah, at times, like, of course, after you get up a home run, the next pitch is going to come in as hard as you possibly can. But you got to mix speeds and locations. Just did a great job of that right there.
Have you noticed today, it seems like a little bit more than usual, Connor's throwing a lot of drop pitches that are looking like strikes and then jump below. Have you noticed a trend with that today?
Yeah, I would say that's probably his go-to pitch, and it's a great strikeout pitch for everybody in the game. That low one that falls off the table looks like it's coming right down the middle, and it ends up in the dirt. If you're going to be a top-tier wiffle ball pitcher, that's one you got to have in your back pocket, I'd say. Very great pitch.
So we have 1 out, and Ray's up right now against Connor. Connor has painted the outside corner. So let's speak about our game, actually. What do you talk about Sarno's amazing performance, both games pitching?
Kid's a sick bastard, man. He had an MVP caliber season. He continued that. We gave him a lead in game 1, and I feel like just the energy that we bring. Me and him have played in tons of big tournaments, so having that experience and confidence really helped out today.
And now we have 2 outs here as Connor threw a low drop on the Ray's hands, and so it's 2 outs, man at first, and Clark's up. And Clark has 2 hits against him today. And even last game, we were saying his swing has been right on. He's been chasing some of the low drops, but if Connor lays one in there, Clark's going to nail it here.
He's been on him all game, so we'll see what happens. And he's finally letting that low drop go.
Yeah.
Big.
We noticed that this game where he's been laying off it a little bit. So going back to Sarno quickly, he was a hell of a pitcher last year, but this year it seems like he's even improved more from what I hear and what people say. And
Definitely.
Would you agree there?
Oh, 100%. The fact that he's playing more this year has definitely helped him out. But he's always been a great player. So it's glad to see him getting some exposure and getting recognized as he always should have.
Yeah, and it's for me as an older vet, it's kind of cool to see him be a top echelon player because his dad was a very, very, very good player and a good guy too. So it's kind of cool to see different generations of wiffle ball players.
Yeah, very good genetics there,
Yeah.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I guess.
Wild pitch on a changeup there. So now we have full count, man on second. So this is going to be interesting. I actually wouldn't expect Connor to throw him a strike here. I wouldn't be surprised if he throws him a low drop to try to get him a chase.
Yeah, that'd probably be very smart. And there it is. He laid off it, though. He's making that adjustment.
That's a very big at-bat. This is one of the keys we were saying before is...
it's another base.
Yeah, it's another base, first and second. Backs up with a guy in scoring position. A single will score a run. A clean single.
So Earl has to score now.
Yeah.
They're down 5 bases, so they're going to have to score unless they tack on 1.
Oh! That's a single to right center, scores a run.
That's clean, right?
Yeah.
So that is 1-0.
1-0, second and third.
Wow.
Let me make sure. Paul, that was a single, right? First and third.
So the MVP of the regular season could be facing elimination in the semifinals.
Yeah, you got to hold him here. You can't get more than 1 run.
Yeah. But Connor can put the ball over the fence at any moment, so...
We were saying before, he's the definition of launch angle when he's batting. The uppercut.
Yeah. I hate facing Connor, especially as a lefty. Anytime I throw him a screwball, I always feel like he's going to just blast it.
Let's go, let's hit, come on.
Strikes out Ray there. Big strike out there, but Lemonheads came through with a huge run. And Beck, who I'm might only have a couple hits today, but that was a huge hit.
That's the biggest hit of his career right there, I want to say. That helps
call.
Ray out a ton.
Right center. I thought that was definitely going to go to the wall, but the balls have just been dying on the grass because of the wet.
They've been putting some crazy swings on the ball, but the ball's just not going anywhere. I don't know if it's the bat or maybe the wind, but I feel like they should have had a couple dingers today that just didn't find its way over the fence.
So speaking of this field, is this one of your favorite fields to play on?
I love it. It's definitely, I would say, a hitter's field, but the fences are high. So, even though right field's a short porch, you got to hit it high. So it kind of balances out well, but it's a beautiful field here.
Yeah, I think the backdrop as a hitter is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so funny as Ray strikes out the leadoff hitter. It's so funny as the other field is a solid field too, but you get spoiled by playing on this field. You're like, So you got 1 out, 1-0 Lemonheads, and Blake's up.
All the way from Ohio.
Yeah. Oh, starts him off with was that a slider?
It looked like it. I haven't seen that before.
Still has some gas on his arm today. I think he's up to like 25 innings we were trying to figure out before.
Yeah, I don't know how he's doing it. Got to take care of your arm.
Yeah, he's smart to go back to back there. So now we have 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Earl's not a team that's just going to lay down. I know Connor's got a never say die attitude, so that's definitely, you can't count them out. In a 1-0 ball game, they're still in it. And
absolutely.
Here he comes.
And I actually haven't pitched. I think I've only pitched to Earl once in my career, but you've faced Connor a lot. You don't want to be up only 1-0 with him up.
He almost took Steffi deep. He hit a home run off McElrath. He's seen everything there is when it comes to wiffle ball players in the country. So that confidence and that experience definitely helps him out.
Absolutely. So we got 2 outs here. Connor's up 1-0 Lemonheads. Ray starts him out. I think that might have been some sort of changeup there.
Yeah. If you're Ray here, this might be the good old intentional walk, being that you're up a run. Total base is kind of negated, but Celia attacks him here. Gets him to chase.
Absolutely.
Very smart pitch.
And I think Ray's pitching. The first 2 pitches are very smart so far. 1 ball,
Very
2 strikes. Gotta be careful not to hang one here, though.
Oh, yeah.
As you can see, Beck's playing basically against the wall at right field.
Oh, man. This is a big moment in the game here. It's one of those tense moments. Everyone's quiet. Best hitter on Earl. Ray, the ace of Lemonheads. 1-0 ball game. Game 3 of the series. This is why you play right here.
It's a huge game.
Oh,
Connor just missed it.
Too high.
And to be honest here, that was not a smart pitch by Ray. I think you're up
not at
1
all.
ball, 2 strikes, and like we were saying, even if you throw 3 balls in a row and walk them, you can't throw a high pitch there. But you got away with it, and Lemonheads got away with the inning here. It's your 1-0 Lemonheads heading into the top of 4.
Oh, it's getting late early, folks. It's getting late early. But we'll see. See what happens.
Well, thank you, Jordan, for joining us, and
we're probably gonna go.
We're looking forward to seeing you in the finals, and maybe
what happens.
hopefully back-to-back MVPs in the finals. It'll be awesome. No pressure. Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks for having me.
And Paul, I think, is making his way back. So we have 1-0. Thanks, Jordan. 1-0 Lemonheads going into top of 4, right, Paul? Yeah. Paul's walking back over here. And Connor just gassed him there, Clark, in a high slider. Jordan provided some great insight into pitching and Connor and Sarno. And as a teammate of Sarno, as Beck hits another deep one. Beck is on fire now. Jordan said that last at-bat was his biggest hit of his career, which probably is. That was a hell of a shot in center field right there. 2 straight at-bats by Beck with 2 singles.
He hasn't hit much all day, but he's got him when it's counted. He did the same thing in Cannonsburg 3 weeks ago. I think he only had 1 hit whole tournament, but it was a triple off of Blake to score a run. So yeah, he's a clutch hitter.
I could tell you as a pitcher in my career, that's one of the biggest pains in the ass is when you face a hitter who hasn't hit all tournament, basically all year, and he gets the big hit off of you. That drives you crazy, and I still see those things in my nightmares against some of those batters in my career.
Ask Ryan Hunsel about that.
Yeah. No, and what Paul's referring to there is the biggest at-bat and stomper in his history, and he was one of the biggest at-bats. He was so frustrated when Paul was at right center. He hit a single off of him.
Straight up the middle.
We have that in our documentary, I believe.
Yeah. My wiffle ball crowning achievement there.
Which hopefully could be found on Netflix and other streaming services in the future. Connor, I think that might have been a straight pitch there.
I both like it.
So what do you think here? You think the Lemonheads can hold on?
Ray seems to be a little rejuvenated now that they got a lead. And I think if he continues pitching smart to Connor, doesn't makes his pitches to Joe and Blake, I think they've got a real good shot at it. The question will be how much he has left for the finals if that does happen.
Yeah, because the Lemonheads have a huge lead right now with total bases. I don't even know what it is, but they have 2 already this inning.
Yeah, I think it's almost insurmountable at this point. The total base lead, that is. I think Earl's going to have to take the lead or
And it went out like Jordan and I were saying that last at bat was not a smart pitch by Ray.
Ground ball. Up
Base hit by Clark. Clark is really on. But that last pitch by Ray to Connor, you can't do that. You got to make Blake and Joe beat you. It was a hanging pitch, and Connor just missed it. But we'll see what happens. So we have first and second. Was it 1 out?
Bases loaded, 1 out.
Oh, I'm off. I'm glad I have Paul back.
No, that's. I mean, I was thinking over there, like,
Strike one.
I can see why professional announcers, keep scorebooks because it is easy to get lost.
Absolutely. The best announcer is Monty from Major League.
Yeah.
Best color commentator. I was hoping there was going to be a fly ball that was caught. I was going to use that line today, but nothing has happened yet.
Him or Brockmeyer.
Yeah. I still have to see the second season.
That's good.
As you can see, Robles, you might be able to see Robles getting warmed up in right field.
Ground ball. Blake's got it. Connor for 1. Connor gets set. Throw home.
That's a huge play
almost
because
sailed over.
Connor was in trouble this inning. Multiple hits, balls in play, and to get out of it, no runs this inning is massive.
Yeah, that was a ridiculously big double play. We've seen a few of those today. Double plays at the right time. So we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Lemonheads up 2-0 on My Name is Earl's. Is Game 3 of a best-of-3 semifinal series. The winner will face the Stompers for the 2018 Mid-Atlantic Championship. We've weathered some rain today. Rained pretty steadily for about 2 to 3 hours during late first round action and into the semifinals. It's stopped now for about 40 minutes or so, but I don't think we're completely out of the woods yet. Joe takes that inside. Earl needs base runners. And they get one, so there's a runner on first. This brings up Blake Hoffman. Blake looking for a big hit here.
We were just saying on the side of the field that the Lemonheads, actually all 3 have hugely contributed this game.
Yeah.
Beck, Clark has a few hits, and of course Ray in the mound. Like, you don't really usually see that in wiffle ball. Usually in wiffle ball you have 1 guy or 2 guys that are the key to victories. I mean, literally all 3 have been major contributors in a few innings so far.
They're the kind of team that the sport needs a lot more of. They're friends, and they all contribute. And their 4th guy, Matt Crispy, he contributes too. He's not here today, but they got all 4 can hit. Ray can chuck. They need one more. They need one more pitcher, and they're set.
Yeah, they're from Ocean County, New Jersey, Jackson area, and I'm from Ocean County, New Jersey originally, so it's kind of cool to see another squad from that area.
It's a wiffle ball hotbed. Ground ball, Ray's got it.
I thought that was
second
sneak
for
through.
1. Clark with return throw. That's going to miss. Looks like he never really got it gripped. So they do get the out at second on the play, but a runner on first now, 2 outs.
Let's see if that ends up being a big hurts him. But that check swing by Connor, I thought it was going to sneak through with second base side because they didn't have an infielder over there.
Yeah, so did I. Ray made a nice play just even getting to it. Joe takes ball 1. He walked his last at bat.
So we're by next year we're going to figure out this whole 5-tool, 4-tool player. Jordan added one. I was talking to him before. I mean, so far I asked Paul this, I asked him, and now Jordan. But Jordan added the mental part of the game, and that's huge in wiffle ball.
Yeah.
That might be the 5-tool, but like the speed part of wiffle ball is your mentality.
No, I think that could definitely be a big one, just because you sort of assume for baseball players by the time they get to the level where you're scouting them on tools that they've got that side, going
big
at least
pitch.
to a real big pitch to get out of the inning there. So the Lemonheads get through 4 innings, still up 2-0.
It's so big though, because think about it. Like, everybody says in baseball, if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a Hall of Famer. Well, wiffle ball, let's take away your batting against mediocre teams where you drive up your average of home runs. Let's take your batting just against top teams. You're probably batting like 200.
Yep.
Sometimes under. So you're a great hitter. Like, you're failing 9, 8 out of 10 times. Connor, I think that might have been another straight pitch there. He seems a little frustrated right now. So let's see if you could just, speaking of the mental part of the game, let's see if you can hold him here.
Change I've just missed.
Because if the Lemonheads, honestly, I think if the Lemonheads get 1 or 2 more runs, it's game over. But 1-0, anything can happen. And Connor has shown that. Like, even against Steffi early on in Mid-Atlantic wiffle ball tournament and stuff like that, Connor could hit anybody.
Good pitch there.
That was almost like a junk screwball there. And actually, Connor's explaining the pitch to Ray as he's asking him. I love that part of wiffle ball when people ask him, "What the hell did you throw me?" And the pitcher's like, "Yeah, I threw a drop screwball, hit the bottom part of the zone."
So 2 down now.
It's funny, like as the mentality of a pitcher, there's a couple of things you go through. Let's say one day you feel like you're in the zone, you could throw it, and you could mess around with new pitches and hit strikes, and people are like, "What are you doing?" You're amazed.
Right.
And then the spot where Connor's in, where he's like, "Damn, I'm down 1-0. I'm just gonna let it fly and try new things." Sometimes both of those areas where you just explore new pitches and you're like, "Wow, I threw that for a strike," and you know, so it's weird like that.
Yeah, I mean, some of the funner games to watch that you wouldn't think of it from like earlier this season when guys like Connor or Ben Stant are trying to save a little in the tank, so they start throwing the more off speed stuff, the more more ingenuitive pitches, and you see 5 or 10 different pitches in one inning.
Absolutely, and in my opinion, that was a rip straight back. In my opinion, that's the biggest change from when we were playing very early in the 2000s. I think that the change up and the slow pitch is the biggest thing. Because a lot of people, the drop is still like the main pitch, a screwball, a riser, a slider. Like it's very, very, very similar. But
I mean, think if a guy like Elvin Cortez had a change up, we would have never got a hit off of him because his riser was as good, his fastball's as good as anyone.
Ball 4, man. And you know what's crazy though is. And he was one of the pitchers that had the best changeups I think ever. Is the guy Nick from Rhode Island Kings? Yeah. I can't remember his last name, but
Terrell,
yeah, he was
big swing.
He actually may be one of the more underrated pitchers in wiffle ball history. I hope people still appreciate and remember how good he was and how good that team was too, because he would gas it, and then all of a sudden he'll throw a pitch that was half the speed, and you literally couldn't move your arms or swing at it.
Ground ball back to Connor. Good play, Joe for 1. That's all they need. Ooh,
I must say,
even
though Beck got out there, I am stunned his last 3 or 4 at-bats. He's had hard ground balls, base hit, the RBI. Who the hell saw this coming? I don't think anybody that's here, we have about 50 people still watching this game here, I don't think anybody saw him being the hitter today. And that's not a knock on him. It's just the history of this tournament and so far Mid-Atlantic where he only has a handful of hits, and today he's looking a great at bat after great at bat.
Yeah, he had 1 hit coming into this final game, and now he's just knocking them out one after another. So
that tells you about confidence. In wiffle ball, it's huge. Like if you're feeling good at the plate, and then you go like, oh, it doesn't matter if you get out. If you have good swings, you feel good. But if you feel bad, you're automatically out. So it's nuts. And I think that's what makes Connor a good hitter too, because Connor is able to just go at bat by a bat here.
Is it the 5th inning?
This is the that's a good question.
Tab.
Let's find out here.
Tab.
I think it's the
Let's go!
Strike 3, good pitch by Ray.
5th inning, Earl's last chance here. Ray gets a big first out on Blake.
This is, let's see, I'm going to make a prediction here. If he throws him a strike that's in the strike zone, Connor's going to crush it. But if he doesn't, it's going to be a walk or a strikeout.
2-0 Lemon Heads, Earl down to their final outs.
That's where I would stay if I was Ray. I actually, as a pitcher, you don't like to do this, but I actually just say, I might just drop the ball on the ground and say, take your base.
No, I mean, you can in Mid-Atlantic just intentionally walk a guy. We saw that earlier.
Connor missed by about 2 feet, would you say? Maybe a little less than that?
Maybe 18 inches, I would say.
I can't wait to see the
And
recording
that ball
of this.
was curving.
And I guess there might be such a thing as hitting it too hard, but the interesting thing would that have been a home run? I don't know if it was above the 75 sign, but
it was.
It was.
To me, it looked like it was parallel to the pole above the fence.
How awesome was that sound too?
Let's go! Fuck yeah!
Real good pitch by Ray there. He knew he had Connor in swing mode after that long foul ball.
It's so hard as a batter, and I'm really experienced myself, but I can imagine it's so hard as a batter. You hit a very good, hard foul ball. How do you get that out of your head? It's tough.
No, it's really tough.
One more strike. This is an amazing story, and we're hoping to get. You want to speak with both Ray and Beck after the game, or which one?
Yeah, let's see if you can grab them, and we'll get some comments from them before the finals here.
Actually, we grab all 3, so it's a 3-man team. What a performance! This is
what a gutsy performance by Ray.
That's a great word, gutsy. Actually, we'll try to get all 3 for a question here. Tim, all 3. Tim, all 3 if you want afterwards.
So
Tim is grabbing all three.
2-0 game 3. Jersey Lemonheads over My Name's Earl in the Battle of New Jersey. So Lemonheads move on to the finals to face the Stompers. We're going to talk with the Lemonheads now.
So great game, guys. Let's start with the come forward. Let's start with the game-winning hit. I think you had 2 or 3 hits in a row. Even that last out, the sound was awesome. What was going through your mind when you were coming to the plate, and then after you got that big hit?
Well, before I went up, Ray and Dave were giving me tips and tendencies that Connor was what he was starting me off with, so I took advantage of that. And after, I was hyped up and just ready to get back in the field.
The only thing that was strange is I thought both of them were going to be doubles. The ball just died in the grass today. There's no extra base hits. You hit it so hard, but the ball just stopped out there. But it sounded great.
Yeah, it's been happening all day. Dave, Ray, they've been putting balls all over the field, and just nothing's going out.
How excited are you for the finals?
We're really excited. We don't get out here much often.
So let's bring Ray with the rubber arm next. So I don't know, you're up to like 28 or 150 innings today. How does your arm feel?
Honestly, I'm good to go, man. I got a rubber arm, nice conditions today. So usually the heat gets me, but I'm feeling good. I'm ready for the championship.
And another thing, it looked like when you started this last game in Game 3, the first inning, it took a little time to get your arm loose. Did it feel that way?
Yeah, I tend to tighten up after I sit for a little bit, and it takes me an inning or so to get loosened up. But then when I get back, I'm usually good to go.
So we'll try to start the finals very quickly, so you're nice and loose. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the last member, we were saying in game 2 that you were right on Connor, but you were chasing a lot of the low drops. And then everybody kept saying, oh, man, if you're just a little patient or Connor brings that ball up, you're going to hit him. And you started hitting him this game. Is that the adjustment you made?
Yeah, Ray was telling me all game. I mean, in the beginning of the season, it was a high riser, and now it's a low drop. But wiffleball's a tough sport. So, I mean, it's hard to hit any pitch. But, I mean, I tried to make an adjustment. I did it in Game 3 and worked out, got the W.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, that's all from us now. Coming up in a few minutes, the finals, Stompers, 2-0 in the day versus Lemonheads, who are now 4-3 on the day for the 2018 Mid-Atlantic Championship. The winner takes home $1,800 in cash prizes. We'll try to stream a game, can't promise it. We've had some weather throughout the day, some rain, other issues, but if not, we'll have these games up in the near future, next week or two. So that's all from us here from now. Stay tuned to our social media, Mid-Atlantic Wiffle on Facebook, Mid-Atlantic Wiff on Twitter for updates, and if we go live, you'll be the first to know if you like our page or follow us on Twitter. So for Nick Schaefer, I'm Paul Cook. We'll talk to you soon.